So we went with the Margot's Guide group to the High Park Nature Center, and guides from, or staff, I guess, from the High Park Nature Center took us on a walk through High Park in the dark. The idea was to learn about how important darkness is. One bird for whom darkness is very important is called the Indigo Bunting. It's a bird that lives in like southern Ontario and northern United States in the summer, but in the winter it lives in Central America, like Mexico, Guatemala, Nicaragua, that sort of area, and the Caribbean also. And so right now it is down there having a nice winter vacation, eating bugs, living its life. And then in the spring, it travels all the way from down in Central America and the Caribbean, all the way up to the northern United States and southern Ontario. I think it's interesting, like scientists don't actually really know how birds know where to fly, for the most part. Like they don't really understand exactly how they know. But there has been some experiments done, and at least for the Indigo Bunting, they believe that from the time they're very young, they watch the stars. So you can imagine baby Indigo Buntings maybe in the nest or in the tree, watching the night sky. Do you have something to say?
And when there's light, the stars don't reflect up in the sky, so they can't see.
There's something that we learned at the High Park Nature Center is that in big cities like Toronto, there's a lot of light because humans need light to drive around safely and stuff like that. But it's not very helpful to those Indigo Buntings who need to see the stars to figure out which way to go. But apparently they observe in whatever bird senses they have the rotation of the stars, and they're able to see which way is north and which way is south, and they know which direction to fly in at what time of the year. So that is apparently how these birds do it. And I saw one. There was I know there was a male because I saw him, and hopefully he had a mate living in our neighborhood in Toronto this summer. So I saw him once, and then my bird app told me that I heard him a few more times, or them a few more times. So this is a bird for whom the stars are very important, and the darkness and being able to see the stars and follow the stars is central to the way they live their lives and the way they find where to go. So in a minute, I'm going to read a bit from the Bible about another following star story. So the Magi, after Jesus was born, the Bible tells us that they also followed the star to meet Jesus in Bethlehem, where he was at the time. So humans also watch the stars. And then today, we are going to later, Catherine will explain more, but we're going to choose a star that has a word on it. And we'll think about whether that word might help guide us as we move through the year and help us orient ourselves to what we need to be doing.
African peoples follow the stars, and if you know the story of the Underground Railroad, the escaped Africans, slaves, also followed the stars, and they talked about follow the drinking gourd, which was a star constellation, to know where to go. And so there are many peoples who studied the stars for that reason. And so we, as part of nature, have sort of disconnected ourselves from that skill, having that skill. And so it's important to maybe rediscover that skill again.
You reminded me of that the people at the High Park Nature Center also told us about, I think in Western culture we have certain names for certain constellations, like the drinking gourd, we often call the Big Dipper. And they told us about some of the, so that's a very, maybe all people always, but certainly many cultures have told stories by the stars. And so the people at the Hyde Park Nature Center told us some of the stories that the Anishinaabe people who lived here would tell by the stars, and how they were different or similar to the ones that that we've kind of received from the Greeks, I guess. So yeah, the darkness is very important and lets us see the lights in the sky.